Hey everybody, here's our first video for AP American Government. We're going to focus on the question of the types of democracy that we can see. We've heard of democracy and talked about regular American government. At the same time, we're not really sure, always, what it is and how democracy can look differently. There are a lot of different types of governments we can see, and we can experience, in the world. I mean, we have the idea of oligarchies where small people kind of go together. If you think about back in world history, Sparta was an oligarchy where you have a few citizens kind of run everything because they're rich, that kind of deal. You have monarchy where it's a hereditary figure. So if you're a Game of Thrones fan at all, right, you have the king who gets to take the next throne, that kind of situation. You have tyranny where it's like you take power by force versus inheritance. So this is where you have your dictators, your in a way, theocracy can be like a tyranny backed by religion, that kind of situation, okay? And these are the main governments that existed for a long, long time in the world. And then you have the Athenians who had democracy, right? Where they took the hands of the many and put the power in the hands of the many. And in ancient Athens, all male citizens had a vote. It was a direct democracy for a small group. And it worked well for one city. The only problem is that it doesn't work well for a country. Hence, we went to Rome and the Republic, and we kind of took that whole situation, made what we call the representative democracy, a system where citizens of a country vote for representatives and handle the legislation to rule the country on their behalf. So in a way, we get to have this whole situation of having democracy, but having a republic as well, and putting both pieces together. We're trying to get this idea of how can we control, 350 million people, but not give all 350 million people like a say in it. So in a way, representative democracy follows those ideas of social contract we look at from John Locke in class, and will bring in these ideas of this idea of, we're going to give up some power to people, they're going to protect our rights, and things are going to work out together that way. And so with representative democracy, as I shake myself down here again, they can look very, very differently, okay? You can have what's called participatory democracy, pluralist democracy, or an elite democracy. We're going to explain each of these three ideas and go forward with them. So participatory democracy is where citizens decide directly on policy, and then the politicians implement those policies. So the people may vote directly through what's called a referendum on the policies themselves, right? So we may put a vote to everybody about what bills are going to happen, but then we vote for the people who actually carry those policies out instead. And so this is a lot of participation by the people. And so we call these initiatives and referendums. So Wisconsin, the state doesn't use these, but in some states, right, they have the idea that they put more bills and more laws out for people to vote on them. Very popular out west in California, those kind of areas, et cetera. Initiatives are like a suggestion to the government, kind of saying hey, we think you should do this. And the people say we should do this. Whereas a referendum is a true, the people voting on those actual laws. Wisconsin does not have either of these. The only place we have it would be for an amendment to a degree, but then there's also stuff that goes along with that a little bit too, which is not based on this map here. We have our pluralist democracy. So essentially in that no one group, the elected or the electors, kind of dominate kind of things, right? So a lot of organized groups compete for policy. So these different groups could be the media, could be political parties, could be all that kind of stuff. And so you see a lot of group-based activism, special interests, those kind of things that really try to help impact a lot on decision-making. This could be companies, could be organizations, could be the Sierra Club, the NRA, whatever it might be, that get involved in a lot of situations. We have our elitist democracy, which basically is a small number of people, usually the rich, the wealthy, the influenced, well-educated, etc., do a lot more of the decision-making, and it's through this emphasis on limited participation by the regular people. And our goal is kind of see which one we think we have here as we go forward on stuff. I want you to use these three definitions along with what you guys do in your reading. We're going to talk about these in class and make some examples of them. This is your first little short video to kind of ease our way in. We're doing more of these as we go on, though. Thank you for your time and your participation. I really, really appreciate it, guys. You guys are awesome.